You are welcome once again to Population Genetics and Evolution, Unit 5, Session 4, Organizational Levels and Natural Selection. And by the end of this session, students should be able to state the organizational levels of natural selection, discuss the organizational levels of natural selection. Because natural selection tends to increase the mean reproductive fitness of a population over evolutionary time, we can say that it works to maximize the net reproductive output. Because the implications of this are frequently misinterpreted, one has to be very careful to understand what it is that tends to be maximized. Let us consider evolution at three levels: genes, individuals, and groups of individuals. Individual genes can maximize their reproductive success. The best known proponent of this review is Richard Dawkins, who in his book, The Selfish Gene, pushes the argument for selfishly motivated genes about as far as it can go. However, because genes are packaged into individuals and transmitted as packages between generations, it is dangerous, even from the gene's point of view, to be too selfish. For example, a selfish gene like one that causes cancer, that optimizes its own spread at the expense of others, is ultimately selected against, at least if the cancer victim is young enough to have its production of offspring reduced. Thus, the conventional view is that genes do not normally compete against each other for fitness within an individual organism. Indeed, this is the current majority opinion. Adaptations are the fitness maximizing attributes of individuals. G.C. Williams, 1966, made a very influential argument to this effect. There is a small caveat under the term inclusivism, which allows for the fitness in which individuals can give their genetic relatives. So the strength of this basic dogma is based on the recognition that because individuals are the basic phenotypic and reproductive units, selfish individuals can very conceivably increase their reproductive success in competition with other individuals in the population. A solitary individual can carry on with the fitness enhancing business of surviving and reproduction much more independently than the solitary cell or individual gene. British biologist V.C. Wynne Edwards, 1962, claimed that animals commonly sacrifice their own reproductive success in situations in which selfishness would put the group in danger. He believed that to some approximation, individual animals were as dependent upon the group for survival and reproduction as solitary genes are upon whole individual phenotypes. This book gave rise to the group selection controversy, which over time was resolved with the recognition that group selection is theoretically possible if there is 1. High variability between groups, 2. Low variability within groups, and 3. Substantial group extinction rates or differential group success rates. The problem is that migration between groups will tend to spread selfish individuals into unselfish groups if any such exist. Within a group of unselfish individuals, selfish ones will have a special advantage. They can take advantage of the altruist without bearing the cost of altruism themselves. Genes are selected to cooperate to make a reproductively effective individual, but individuals are not nearly so likely to be selected to make a successful group by sacrificing their own advantage for the advantage of the group. Of course, individuals who strive to survive and reproduce as individuals also tend to perpetuate their group. The rub comes when it might be useful for individuals to cooperate to reproduce the group as a functional entity, the way genes collaborate to produce a body that then jointly reproduces all the genes in the genome. This is particularly the case with humans, with their high levels of cooperation. Indeed, some biologists who are otherwise persuaded that group selection is unimportant see a possible role for it in humans. In the meantime, beware of the picture of animals cooperating in their collective interest. So in review, natural selection tends to increase the mean reproductive fitness of a population over evolutionary time. The conventional view is that genes do not normally compete against each other for fitness within an individual organism. Adaptations are the fitness maximizing attributes of individuals. So an individual can carry on with the fitness of surviving and reproduction much more independently than the solitary cell or individual gene. Genes are selected to cooperate to make a reproductively effective individual, but individuals are not nearly so likely to be selected to make a successful group by sacrificing their own advantage for the advantage of the group.